The latest addition to the monsterverse saw our favorite reptilian kaiju have a major glow-up. After the entire world went through a major Barbie wave in 2023, I think our G-Man was suffering from a massive fear of missing out, and hence jumped on the opportunity to seize his Barbie moment. Keeping the jokes aside, Godzilla actually had all the valid reasons for his new evolution into his bright neon pink form. Even if Adam Wingard, the director of the film, admitted having a personal preference for Godzilla's color change, the giant lizard's glow-up still did not happen in vain. Although the film shows much more of Kong than of King of the Monsters, still, Godzilla dominates the premise every time he comes onto the scene. Now, stating the very obvious, we're going into a spoiler-ridden territory, so if you wish to avoid getting a scoop of the film, I suggest you move on. But for those who are here to stay, without wasting another moment, let's discuss how Godzilla embraced his inner Barbie in Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. Before we get into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Godzilla found a home in Rome. After being at each other's throats at Godzilla vs. Kong, and then reaching an understanding, the Alpha Kaijus had decided to separate themselves, given that they don't share a territory that well. So Kong had to leave the surface world and make a life for himself in the Hollow Earth, while Godzilla stayed up, maintaining the balance between both worlds, and protecting the surface and its humans from any rising rabid kaiju threats from time to time. If you didn't know, Godzilla x Kong is set in 2027, 3 years after the Alpha Titans fought Mechagodzilla. During this time, the surface world has found a sense of momentary peace, as the Monarch has aided in reconstructing cities torn by Titan clashes. Meanwhile, Godzilla goes about maintaining this equilibrium, leaving humanity undisturbed unless they need protection from any kaiju-sized threats. Like Dr. Andrews mentioned, the last time Godzilla was seen amongst people was when a weird spider-like Titan named Scylla was wreaking havoc on the citizens of Rome. Even if Scylla does have an imposing stature, it's no match for nature's guardian, because he's the king for a reason. We see a scene of Godzilla rising from his nap to get himself to Rome, getting a hold of Scylla and whooping her ass to send her flying in the air. Next thing we know, G-Man is running towards her with full force, jumping on the sea monster, ripping off the tentacles from her face, and then proceeding to tear Scylla into shreds. Now that she was dead, Godzilla was drenched in Scylla's desaturated yellow goo-like blood. Cleaning himself up, Godzilla then makes his way onto the Colosseum of Rome, claiming the architecture as his new home, and settling down inside to go back to his hibernation. Like a 400-foot big cuddly lizard. This allowed Monarch to reassure humanity that the Titan is exactly where he needs to be, with no imminent threats in sight. Godzilla wakes up to go on a world tour. We've discussed in many videos before how the Titans have an innate sense of impending danger coming their way, and being the guardian of Earth itself, Godzilla's sense of danger and responsibility is always at peak. Like Andrews mentioned, humanity is lucky that Godzilla is fighting the battles they can't. Down inside Hollow Earth, Monarch has established an outpost to keep track of Kong and monitor his lonely life. Every now and then, the scientists at Hollow Earth send an update to Dr. Andrews, who's now living with Gia in Barbados, closer to a Hollow Earth access portal. Suddenly, the scientists in Hollow Earth began noticing certain electrical anomalies causing a massive spike in their seismic readings, even though Kong is living his life, which is nothing out of the ordinary. Following this, Godzilla rises from his nap, wreaking havoc amongst all Monarch agents, who are racking their brains on King G's sudden awakening. Meanwhile, the Monarch outpost inside Hollow Earth is unreachable, causing panic worldwide that something evil may be coming their way. When Kong comes to the surface world for a dental appointment, Dr. Andrews believes that the sole reason why Godzilla woke up was because he sensed Kong's presence on Earth, but it feels like Godzilla is on his own mission here. Ever since G-Man woke up in Rome, he's been on his own European adventure, trekking through Italy, Germany, and eventually reaching the Arctic. At first, Eileen and the Monarch team thought he was on Kong's trail. However, it gradually becomes clear that Godzilla is gearing up for something much more devastating. Plus, his routine isn't your usual strength training regimen session. Godzilla is strategically visiting radiation-rich locations, pumping himself up like a colossal battery, preparing for the ultimate showdown. He first swims to a massive nuclear plant, invading it to charge up for the incoming battle. Monarch figures this out as the radiation levels of the atmosphere take a staggering drop, and even if they send in reinforcements to stop him, Godzilla smashes the jets to resume sucking all the planet's energy. After he's done, Godzilla is now emanating heat from the excess radiation, causing his dorsal fins and eyes to glow bluer than ever. The giant lizard then makes his way through Germany, and even if Monarch is trying their best to follow him, they have to maintain their distance, given that Godzilla is now releasing a crazy amount of heat. How does Godzilla attain his pink form? Now that Godzilla is radioactively hot from sucking up all the nuclear byproduct, dude's literally melting cities and burning buildings, simply bypassing through them. Anyway, Godzilla's ultimate destination to the Arctic leads him to the lair of a very powerful, electrically charged titan named Tiamat, who lives in the ocean. This isn't just a warm-up. Tiamat's lair is a gold mine of radiation that Godzilla can tap into, but only after he can defeat the beast. And I think it's a good time for you to note that Tiamat is a glowing flower-headed sea titan. who has several tendrils coming out of her face. This kaiju is 847 feet long, and so pumped with radiation that she's literally iridescent. So basically, we're in for a giant glowing blue lizard fighting against a glowing pink serpent. Anyway, Godzilla picks up a massive fight with Tiamat, and the two engage in a mind-bending underwater brawl. Of course, glowing pink Tiamat does not go down without a tough fight, but we all know that she's not strong enough to put a dent on Godzilla. Before we can even comprehend, the King of Monsters sucks in all the radiation from her and then rips her into mere chunks floating on the sea. He then ventures into Tiamat's hidden irradiated lair, proceeding to supercharge himself by draining the pink cave's energy. This leaves the people at Monarch floored, especially when Godzilla goes through a massive transformation, rising with a roar as his iconic blue-hued spikes evolve into a vibrant pink. This visual transformation not only signifies his heightened power, but also pays homage to the Showa era, a deliberate nod pursued by director Wingard. He has managed to blend the Showa-era extravagance with a grounded feel by infusing Godzilla with an 80s cartoon vibe alongside a sense of realism. How does his pink form change the King of Monsters? At this point, Godzilla has left behind his blue hue, which stood as a metaphor for the nuclear bomb. So maybe his pink glow is being set up for a new metaphor in the long run. Well, we don't know that yet, but we certainly know why Godzilla needed to supercharge and evolve. Centuries ago, during ancient times, Godzilla had fought a very powerful enemy, the Scar King. The battle was long and hard, with Godzilla barely managing to send the Red Ape into exile by locking him inside the fiery lava pit of Hollow Earth. Now, with Monarch's intervention and Kong's arrival inside the Hollow Earth, Scar King has found a way to get out of his exile and invade the surface world. But there's a twist. Scar King has a very powerful ancient titan at his disposal, the Ice Titan Shimo. Although this frosty kaiju is as powerful as Godzilla, she's reduced to being Scar King's slave, who uses a glowing crystal to inflict pain on Shimo and control her. So, to match that strength, Godzilla needed that power-up. Apart from changing color, I think Godzilla also grew in size by a few feet, although Shimo is still seen to be towering over the G-Man. Plus, Godzilla's usual arsenal of power seems to remain the same, even though he was seen to be significantly stronger and faster in combat. This was witnessed in the final battle of all four Titans, when Godzilla used his new pink-colored atomic breath to counter Shimo's frostbite blast. We even see how he knocks Shimo down a few times, which must have needed a lot of strength, given that the Ice Titan is heavier and larger than the King of the Monsters. Lastly, after Scar King was dead and Shimo was free from his evil clutches, Godzilla uses his power to undo all the damage that Shimo caused. But when she first arrived to the surface world, Shimo had breathed her frostbite blast directly into the Earth's sky, turning a sunny Brazil into a frigid zone. With his power upgrade, Godzilla was able to restore the balance by firing his upgraded atomic blast into the sky to neutralize Earth's weather. All in all, even if Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire was a fine visual representation of mindless monster war with amazing CGI, it was good to know that the potential of Godzilla's power upgrade was correctly utilized throughout the film. We've seen previously Godzilla get tired before in long grueling battles, after he's met his match in a fight, but ever since he attained his pink form, Godzilla has never been seen to falter, landing one blow after the other to prove his dominance as the king of all kaijus. Even if the film lacked any post-credit scene, robbing us from a peek into MonsterVerse's future, I think it's safe to say we'll see much more of the newly evolved Godzilla in the franchise future. So what did you guys think about the new pink Godzilla? Let us know in the comment box below. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone!